We're talking SEC football on Southeastern 14. I'm Chase Robinson. Thanks for joining us today. There's no doubt the SEC has dominated the NFL draft in recent years. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, got to remind you about BetOnline, your number one source for all of your summer sports this season, from MLB to golf, NBA, NHL, all the latest stats, news, scores available to you for your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head over to their website or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet online where the game starts. So the SEC has dominated football. There's no doubt about that in recent years. Now we're seeing other teams, we're seeing other conferences making a run at that, but the SEC has still been kind of the premier college football conference. And so when you look at the NFL draft, it's no surprise that the SEC has also been the premier conference in putting players into the National Football League. When you have one of the best conferences and your teams are winning, there's no doubt there's great players. So then those great players then move on to the NFL. And so the SEC has had really great numbers in the NFL draft. In 2022, it was the record for the league in players drafted at 65 SEC players drafted to the NFL. That's 2022. Last year, they were just 3 shy of that, with 62 SEC players drafted. What I thought was interesting last year, 13 of the 14 conference teams had at least one player drafted to the NFL. Not many conferences can say that. That's impressive numbers. And then, of course, on top of that, Alabama and Georgia both had 10 apiece drafted to the NFL. And so here we go with the SEC, and we're going to see it grow. We're going to see these numbers grow as the league grows. You add Texas, you add Oklahoma. I mean, there's going to be quite a few guys go from those schools. And so next year, when we sit here looking at the NFL draft, it's going to be even bigger number. And it's going to get bigger. And it's going to keep getting bigger. As I sit here recording this video, we're 2 days away from the 2024 NFL draft. So I want to look at some of these players that we can expect to go in the first round. There's quite a few SEC players who will be going in the first round representing the conference. And again, I think it's going to be a huge number. Again, we're just going to look at the first round, but there's going to be a lot of guys going the rest of the rounds, and I expect another big number of SEC players in the NFL draft. But depending on what mock draft you look at, there's 9 to 11 players from the SEC who are expected to go in the first round. And so let's look at these, and I think it's no surprise this one right here, who is expected to go very high. That's the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Jayden Daniels from LSU, quarterback. A lot of mock drafts have him going number 2, and I think rightfully so. He is a great quarterback. He has a great arm. He can run the ball, a dual threat guy. So I think it's between him and Drake May from North Carolina on who will be the first quarterback behind Caleb Williams taken off the board. But Jayden Daniels is just a guy who can do it all and do it well. And so I think he'll be the first SEC player off the board there as the reigning Heisman Trophy winner there for the LSU Tigers. So again, you look at a lot of the projections, they have him going second. Another LSU player I think will be the second SEC player off the board. That's wide receiver Malik Nabers, who had a great year last year and had a great combine, and his draft stock has gone way up in the offseason. And I think he could be a very valuable piece to whoever is able to get him. But he is projected to be the second SEC player off the board there. A lot of the projections have him around 6th, going between 6 and 8 of going off the board there. But Malik Nabers of LSU, another guy to watch in the NFL draft. And then Dallas Turner, the edge rusher from the Alabama Crimson Tide. A lot of the projections have him going between 9 and 11 there in the first round of the NFL draft. And so he will be is projected to be maybe the third SEC player off the board. And no surprise here as well. Tight end from Georgia, Brock Bowers. We know what he's done in his career there with the Bulldogs. Has been a tremendous piece there at Georgia. And I think he's built to be also a NFL tight end. And he kind of played like an NFL tight end in college football. That's why a lot of teams could not think about stopping him, because he's big, he's so good, he's quick, and I think he'll fit right in the SEC or in the NFL. And so Brock Bowers, again, they projected him anywhere really from 8 to 11. So quite a few have him around 10. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes before Dallas Turner of Alabama, but certainly around there is where we'll see Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia, go. Another player from Alabama, Terrion Arnold, the cornerback. He was a big piece of the Alabama defense last year and in recent years. And so I think he will fit in really well in the NFL. So, we'll see where he ends up. But a lot of the projections have him around 12, kind of between 12 and 15. So I think that's where we could expect Terrion Arnold from Alabama to go. Another LSU player, wide receiver Brian Thomas, as he's projected around 15, in that range, to go in the first round of the NFL draft. So he was a very important piece. We talked about Jayden Daniels earlier being the quarterback that he was. Brian Thomas was a big piece of the success that LSU was able to have offensively last year, with Jayden Daniels leading the way. Thomas was a great target for Jayden Daniels there at LSU. Offensive tackle J.C. Latham, projected to go first round. They've got him maybe around 16, between 16 and 20, depending on what mock draft you look at. But J.C. Latham was a big piece of the offensive line for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and has been an important piece over the last few years. Very consistent part of that offensive line. There was J.C. Latham. Another offensive lineman projected to go first round out of the SEC is Amarius Mims from Georgia. He also, you heard a lot about him. Very big guy, very physical, and was a major part of Georgia's success up front offensively for the Bulldogs. And so he's projected to go around 21st, they're saying. So that's a name to watch as well out of the SEC. Another cornerback for Alabama, Kool-Aid McKinstry. And the last couple of years, you've been hearing his name a lot as far as Alabama football. He was a key piece, great leader for the Alabama defense last year. And he was kind of that quarterback for the defense a year ago. And so I think he's long, he's lanky, but yet he moves really well. And I think he will be a great fit in the NFL. So, again, they've got him projected around 31st. So later on in the first round, maybe we'll see Kool-Aid McKinstry go. And another guy that could go first round, he's kind of on the border. Really good wide receiver, McConkey from Georgia. We've talked a lot about him. He was a huge part of the success of Georgia. Had an injury battling, towards the end of last year. They got him again on the line of, will he be first round or will he be early second round? We'll just have to see. But I think he definitely could be a first round pick. He's that kind of player. He had a tremendous career there in college, and so that's a name to watch as well out of the SEC. Could we see McConkey go first round? Another guy right again on the edge. Will he go late first round, early second round? Darius Robinson, the edge rusher from Missouri. He had a tremendous season for the Tigers a year ago, and I think he's a guy again that can make some noise in the NFL. It's just, do they want to spend their first pick on this guy? And I think that's what these teams are figuring out right now. But Darius Robinson, again, a name you could see go in the first round. Again, we'll just have to wait and see based on the needs of these teams. If folks are traded around, all this will be thrown off. But again, we're looking at maybe 9 to 11 SEC players going first round in the NFL draft a couple of days from now as I record this video. But again, a lot could change. You get into the draft, you get teams trading around, then things could look much different. But as of right now, again, I think the SEC has done so well in the NFL draft. And you look past the draft, they've done so well in the NFL. And so I'm excited to see later this week how many SEC players we're talking about going first round in the NFL draft. But it's the premier college football conference, so therefore it's going to be the premier conference in the NFL draft in the SEC. And again, the league record 65 players total drafted back in 2022. We'll see if we can beat that this year for the SEC. We cover all things SEC on Southeastern 14, so go ahead and subscribe to our channel and like this video, share it with your friends, and spread the word about Southeastern 14. I'm Chase Robinson. We'll have more SEC football coverage here on Southeastern 14.